Hello, my name is Abby,
And my name is Aliana.
and we are going to help you prepare for your cellular respiration test.
First, what is cellular respiration? Cellular respiration is a process in which we use glucose and oxygen to produce ATP, water, and carbon dioxide.
This is important because ATP transfers the energy that our cells need throughout our body. The cellular respiration equation says that it takes 1 glucose molecule and 6 oxygen molecules to produce ATP, 6 water molecules, and 6 carbon dioxide molecules. In cellular respiration, glucose and oxygen are called the reactants because these are the molecules that are reacting in the equation. ATP, water, and carbon dioxide are called products because those molecules were produced from the reaction. In some reactions like cellular respiration, you might see a number in front of the molecule. This number is called a coefficient. The coefficient tells us how many molecules of something we need in order for the reaction to take place. If there is no number in front of the molecule, it means that there is only one molecule needed. For example, glucose in cellular respiration. In glucose, there is also a tiny 12 and 2 tiny 6s. These numbers tell us how many atoms we need, but only one molecule's worth.
To figure out how many atoms you need for multiple molecules, you multiply the little numbers after, for example, the O in oxygen, by its coefficient, which is 6. When we multiply 2 and 6, we get 12. So we need 12 oxygen atoms to make 6 oxygen molecules. In an equation, you need to make sure that there are the same amount of atoms on both the reactant side and the product side. So if there's 18 atoms on one side, there has to be 18 atoms on the other side too. For the reactant side in cellular respiration, there are oxygen atoms both in glucose and in the oxygen molecule. We have to make sure that we add them together, but only after we multiply the little numbers by their coefficients. Our bodies can switch out the glucose molecule with a lipid molecule or an amino acid, but our body uses glucose first because it's the only one without a double bond. Lipids and amino acids are used for other purposes, but one of the purposes is to be used in cellular respiration if glucose can't be. But they all have one thing in common, which is to be used in the muscle cell.
If you are confused on what cells, molecules, and atoms are, we'll explain. The cell is the biggest of the three, then the molecule, and then the atom. An atom is the smallest living organism, a molecule is a group of atoms bonded together, and a cell is made up of molecules. Keep in mind that these aren't their actual sizes, and we can't see them at all with the naked eye. A reaction that is similar to cellular respiration is called burning reaction or combustion. But the difference is that combustion uses fuels such as coal instead of glucose, and it doesn't occur in a series of steps to release small amounts of energy over time like cellular respiration does. Since it doesn't use glucose, it doesn't produce ATP. Instead, it produces heat energy. Oxygen is an input for our bodies and a necessity for cellular respiration. Oxygen comes into our bodies when we breathe. It then travels down our trachea and to our lungs. After the lungs, it then goes through the bronchial pathway and out to the alveoli, which is an air sac in the lungs. It then leaves the lungs and goes into the bloodstream, where it travels to the heart and is pumped out to, for example, a muscle cell. In the muscle cell, the oxygen travels to the mitochondria and will be used in cellular respiration. Once oxygen is used in cellular respiration, it will produce carbon dioxide. Since carbon dioxide is a waste product, it has to be removed from the cell. It comes out from the mitochondria and into the bloodstream. It then goes to the heart where it is pumped to the lungs along the bronchial pathway where it travels up our trachea and out of the mouth. When taking the test, do not forget to add arrows to your diagram or you will be marked off points.
Muscle cells also need carbohydrates and amino acids. Apples are made up of mostly carbohydrates. When you eat it, you physically break it down with your teeth and the help of your saliva. When you swallow the apple, it travels down your esophagus and into your stomach. Once in the stomach, the apple is broken into glucose molecules. Our body then pushes it into our small intestines, where the glucose molecules go through its lining and into our capillaries. Since the capillaries are a part of the circulatory system, the glucose molecules goes into the bloodstream where it is distributed to our cells. When the glucose is in the cell, it then goes to the mitochondria to be used for cellular respiration. Almonds are made up of proteins and fats. First, we physically break it down with our mouths and the help of our saliva. Once we swallow it, it travels down our esophagus and into our stomach. Unlike an apple, An almond is broken down into two things: amino acids from the proteins, and fatty acids and glycerol from the fat. Our body pushes them into the small intestines, and the amino acids go through our lining and into the capillaries. The capillaries then distributes the amino acids to our cells through our bloodstream. For example, the amino acids could be delivered to a muscle cell, where, with the help of ATP, builds, puts together, and arranges the amino acids into proteins that our body needs. The process of amino acids becoming proteins is an example of biosynthesis, because it is taking something small, like amino acids, and creating something bigger, like proteins. And I'm what you want, so stop.